In the business world, there's no shortage of failure, especially when it comes to failed products. Some just happen to have a bigger impact than others. You probably expect a newly formed company to have more product failures than one of the most successful companies in the world, say Coca Cola, right? Well, Coca Cola isn't failure-free. In fact, it has been said that Coca Cola's introduction of New Coke may have been one of the biggest product failures of all time. So, what happened exactly? I'm sure you've heard the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, Coca Cola probably wishes they had taken this mantra into consideration before launching New Coke. On May 8, 1886, Dr. John Pemberton sold the first glass of Coca Cola at Jacob's Pharmacy in downtown Atlanta. For about the first year, he was serving 9 drinks per day. Fast forward to today, and on average, there's 1.8 billion bottles sold per day. This means that there are over 10,000 Coca-Cola soft drinks consumed every second of every day across the globe. With that kind of growth, why would Coca-Cola decide it's time for a change? The year is 1985, and Coca-Cola believes its classic signature soft drink was broken. At the time, Coca-Cola was still the world's best-selling soft drink, but its number one competitor, Pepsi, was hot on its heels. Pepsi had launched its Pepsi Challenge campaign, in which people would take part in a blind taste test. Surprisingly, the public favored Pepsi over Coca-Cola. You might think, well, that's just a marketing ploy by Pepsi. It was definitely a Pepsi marketing campaign, but Coca-Cola performed its own market research, which provided the same results. People were choosing Pepsi over Coca-Cola based on the taste. Despite what you may have heard, the Coca-Cola secret recipe has been tweaked a few times along the way, but they always ensured the taste remained the same. At one point, they monkeyed around with sweeteners, changing from cane sugar to beet sugar, and then to corn syrup. But through all that, the taste never changed. During their marketing research, Coca-Cola discovered that consumers preferred an even sweeter version of their classic Coke product. And most importantly, this sweeter version even beat out Pepsi in taste tests. Coca-Cola had a tough decision to make. Should they abandon the tried and true classic taste of Coke for a sweeter version? On April 23rd of 1985, Coca-Cola risked it all when then CEO Roberto Goizueta announced to the press that the classic Coca-Cola that everyone loved was about to change. He introduced the new formula, telling everyone that it was smoother, rounder, yet bolder, a more harmonious flavor. In actuality, New Coke was just sweeter and tastes more like Pepsi. In hindsight, Coca-Cola probably should have introduced the New Coke to the public and kept producing their classic Coke alongside this newer, supposedly better option. Instead, they retired the 99-year-old classic recipe and locked the formula, called Formula 7X, away in an Atlanta bank vault, fully expecting to never see it again. The Coca-Cola leadership was so confident in their decision that they made that their CEO said, "Some may choose to call this the boldest single marketing move in the history of the packaged goods business. We simply call it the surest move ever made." Coca-Cola's president, Donald Keough, said, "I've never been as confident about a decision as I am about the one we're announcing today." These words may have come back to haunt them. So, how did consumers take the news of the New Coke? Well, shortly after the announcement was made, Coca-Cola stock price dropped, while Pepsi's stock price was on the rise. Pepsi couldn't have been more thrilled about the announcement. In fact, Pepsi gave its employees the day off and published a full-page newspaper advertisement which said, "After 87 years of going at it eyeball to eyeball, the other guy just blinked." Loyal Coke customers felt betrayed. Within weeks of the announcement, Coca-Cola was receiving 5,000 complaint calls a day. Within months, that number rose to 8,000 angry phone calls a day. It eventually forced Coca-Cola to hire some more operators just to field all the calls. One caller even went so far as to say, "I don't think I'd be more upset if you were to burn the flag in our front yard." That's a pretty bold statement, and one upset customer. Not only did customers call and complain, they took action. They staged protests where they poured bottles of New Coke into the sewer drains. One man even filed a lawsuit against Coca-Cola, trying to force them to bring back their classic Coke. As you can imagine, the Coca-Cola executive team was shocked by the outrage. After all, they used a lot of data to support their decision. They had performed over 190,000 blind taste tests. So why were they blindsided by this response? They underestimated just how many loyal Coke drinkers they had, and didn't realize that there was such an emotional attachment to their brand. While the taste test was accurate in that people preferred the taste of new Coke, they failed to ask people how they would feel if Coke got rid of their classic Coke and replaced it with this new Coke. If they had, I think they may have had some different decisions. Only after 79 days on the market, Coca Cola executives called a press conference to announce that they would be returning to the original formula, which was now called Coca Cola Classic. Kioff said, "Our boss is the consumer. We want them to know we're really sorry." This was such a big news that TV stations abandoned their regularly scheduled program to share the breaking news. Coca Cola Classic quickly regained the #1 position, outselling New Coke and Pepsi. Instead of getting rid of New Coke altogether, they rebranded the formula under Coke 2 and eventually discontinued it completely in 2002. Believe it or not, Coca-Cola actually benefited from this huge blunder. Consumers rediscovered their attachment to the iconic Coca-Cola brand. Some critics went so far as to say that Coca-Cola planned the whole thing as a marketing gimmick. Kioff's response to that accusation was, "The truth is, we're not that dumb and we're not that smart." At the end of the day, market research is one thing, but it doesn't always tell the complete story. Don't underestimate the power of emotional attachment that a brand may have on its consumers. After all, Coca-Cola spent years trying to create a loyal following. They did just that, and it almost cost them dearly. What do you think about the new Coke story? Do you think it was all a marketing ploy conjured up by Coca-Cola? We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you think in the comments section below.